Hello, what's up? I'm Brian here doing another video for you guys, and this time we actually know what we're going to get in the Transformers Netflix War for Cybertron Spoiler Pack Part 2. So this is going to include a Leader Class figure, a Battlemaster, and 3 Energon Cubes that we know of. So it's going to be very similar to the Ultra Magnus pack. If you guys don't want to know what's inside, well, you should probably click away from the video. But before we take a look at what's in the box, I want to talk about the box itself and my theory behind it. So, in the Cybertronian text above, we knew that we were going to get Decepticon Giza, or something Giza. I can't remember what the first part was, but Giza is the important part of the name. Now, Giza is a reference to the Arms of Micron figure that came with Nemesis Prime. So I had speculated that this is actually going to be Nemesis Prime. The interesting part about this box set is it's actually an amalgamation of so many different other figures being repainted into this box set. So with that out of the way, I gave you guys the warning. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside the box. Starting off with the alt mode, and yep, I was right, it's Nemesis Prime, but not just Nemesis Prime. I thought that this was going to be the Earth mode Nemesis Prime, given the fact that Takara already has a Siege version of Nemesis. But if you look at the mold, and I didn't even clue into this right away, this is actually the Siege mold. So they're going back to that, which kind of makes sense given the fact that in the Netflix series for Wave 2, we already have the Optimus Prime mold being introduced again in a Voyager class box set with a couple of Battlmasters. So that would be kind of weird that we would get two of the same molds in one wave. So I guess this is just what they had to do. But I'm not going to argue with that. I'm glad that we're going to have a Nemesis Prime on the shelf at Walmart, so that's kind of cool. But taking a look at this set, you can see that the Nemesis Prime cap has a lot of transparent red, but it does still have a little bit of that teal, but it doesn't really show up for the alt mode. Also, the alt mode is heavily mistransformed. The bumper at the bottom isn't even flipped down, so you can see the crotch plate. And the chest is opening up, probably because the bumper is pushing that ahead. But either way, you know, it's a stock image. When we get it, we're going to transform it right, so it doesn't really matter. But there's a lot of this, it's not black, it's like a very dark gray, or at least it seems like a dark gray, with silver going around it. And the silver doesn't really catch my attention, but I kind of like that, because this is meant to be a darker, more gloomy version of Optimus Prime. Now, it's almost borderline to the Dead Universe Optimus Prime, but, you know, it's still a much darker color, and of course the transparent red really shines. I do like the trailer, and how it's got the cyan stripe on the side, or the teal stripe. That's pretty cool. And it does have Decepticon logos, which some people are not going to be happy about, but whatever. And I'll make this point that so far we've got a repaint for the Siege Voyager Optimus Prime and the Leader Class Earthrise Optimus Prime, but it doesn't really stop there. Anyways, the alt mode, I think it looks pretty good, even though it's mistransformed. Taking a look at the robot mode, you can see that it also includes some of the accessories that came with the Power of the Primes Leader Class Optimus, or not Optimus, Nemesis Prime. So, if you ever wanted those weapons, including the sword, well, here you go. The big blasters on the side look kind of awkward, considering that this is a much smaller figure, and he does still carry the, you know, normal blaster. You can see it on the back. Of course, it was on the alt mode image, but I think that this looks pretty good. Would like to see a little bit more cyan, or the teal color, I should say, and I wish the color was a little bit darker, but I guess they want to make it a little different compared to the one that we were getting from the Japan release, so I guess it kind of makes sense, but again, it borderlines to that Dead Universe Optimus Prime. But regardless, you know, the red on the transparent chest is very nice. I wish there was a little more color with the legs, but I get why. And I think the sword looks really awesome with it, especially given the side. It makes the sword look a hell of a lot bigger, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm curious to see exactly how this necessarily ties to the show. I know the Ultra Magnus kind of loosely tied to the show, and one could argue about that, but I'm curious to see if this will actually show up in any form. I mean, it's gotta, right? This is a different character, or a different interpretation of Optimus Prime, so it'd be kind of weird that they do this and not have it in the Netflix show. At least Ultra Magnus was in the show. So, anyways, let's move on to everything that's included with the set. So you get a couple of Dark Energon cubes, which I speculated that's what we would get, so that's cool. But the one thing that I'm wrong about is the Giza figure. And I'm going to assume that's Giza because the box shows Giza, so it's gotta be. I mean, the original box set showed the name Rung, and that's what it included. But the thing about Giza is that should have been a repaint of Taraxodon, not Slitherfang. Now, I kind of get why it's Slitherfang, because so far he has not gotten a repaint, and I think Taraxodon has 2 repaints now. So, I kind of get it, and considering the fact that there's already an Optimus Prime multi-pack with a Taraxodon repaint in the same wave, okay, I get it, but it doesn't remind me of Giza, though, from the original figure, from the Arms Micron, or the Power of the Primes figure, so it's just a little awkward. It would have been kind of cool to just get the regular blade that we had from the Nemesis Prime pack, just being introduced in this set, but I'm not going to complain too much. It looks like the blast effect included with the set is almost like a pinkish color, which I kind of like, actually. And of course, you do have the trailer opening up. You do have the drone at the top there to, you know, work on Nemesis Prime or do whatever. You know, I think this is a pretty good box set. It includes quite a bit of extra accessories. You know, the swords, the 2 blasters, so that's cool. Of course, you don't need to have the swords and the 2 blasters with them if you don't want. But I'm kind of glad that this is different compared to the Earth Mode Optimus Prime that we're getting already in the wave. Would have been cool to get that, though, in the Nemesis colors. I think I would have much preferred that, but I definitely don't mind this because I still like the Siege mold, so I'm not going to argue with it. The box set looks pretty good. So with that out of the way, what do you guys think? Please comment below, let me know. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and all those fun dudettes, and I will see you guys next time. Quick update I gotta mention, I missed this in the description, but apparently Slitherfang is still Slitherfang. He's not renamed Giza, which is kind of weird considering that Giza is the one written on the box. So I don't understand that. It's kind of weird.